Hey guys, Instructor Pilot Chris. It is the weekend. I've passed by this pool a few times and I really wanted to fly here, but I had to wait for the right conditions. So when you're trying to find a place to fly, there's multiple factors. Obviously, you can't come here during summer when there are people and barbecuing and a party going on. You need to wait until the pool is yours. So right there, that kind of meant that I was limited to early morning session here in Texas where it's 100 degrees. Pools are a popular place to be. So first thing, I needed to look for an early morning. The two other factors, I had to check for wind, which right now is calm, but we are expecting 20-mile-an-hour winds. So you can kind of see the breeze up there. It's deceiving when you're down low. You can't really tell what's going on. That does not mean that once you start flying, you won't have turbulence. So you need to factor all that in to your approaches, what direction you're going to be coming in from, especially in a confined area like this. We'll talk about that in a second. But I can feel that breeze on myself now. So those are the big things you want to check for. And then lighting, right? If it's too dark, it's hard for me to see and it doesn't pick up well on the camera. So I think we had all those boxes checked and we're gonna give this a shot today. I did try to take off from the fountain earlier in the week, had a great video on that. I was able to land the aircraft in the fountain. However, the fountain was not long enough to depart from. So just like real seaplanes, they take a lot of distance to get airborne. There's a lot of drag where the floats are on the water, but they can land in a very short area. So what I'm hoping here today with this pool, that it's long enough to get airborne. I have no concerns about landing in the water. It doesn't mean I won't screw it up, but I'm pretty confident about landing in the water. It's more about departure. This swimming pool is longer, but you have to think about your obstacles. It's not just getting off the water. What's at the end of the runway? So I got a tree, I got buildings, none of that is good. This direction's a little bit better. The trees are farther away and lower. This is a good out this way. It'd be really great if I didn't have that umbrella right there, but I'm not gonna move their stuff. And then obviously, this is the low lying area, this fence line. So for trying to get in low or departing, that's ideal, because you don't have to climb very high. And this is the same thing with general aviation. If you're taking off with like a Cessna off a short runway, it's not just the runway. What's at the end of the runway? Is there a power line? Is there a tree line that's either turbulence or just an obstacle to clear? These are all things you need to think about. And my experience has been, although important on landing to know about these things, most aircraft, general aviation, you can drop down over those objects pretty easily. They have enough flaps and drag to slow down and land. They typically don't need that much runway. Very different from a jet. However, for departure, it becomes an issue where you really don't have the extra power, and so you need to be thoughtful on how do I get out of here. Now the wind will help you if you have a headwind. You always take off into a headwind. That will minimize your ground speed and help you climb over objects, but today it appears to be variable wind and more or less from the southwest, which is a direction I really can't go. So it's not ideal. What I might elect to do, I might start over in that corner and try to take off a takeoff run and do a left turn out of here. Once I'm airborne, I should be good as long as I don't run into something, but that's on me. But just for the capability of the aircraft. Other option would be to start in this corner, perhaps. Actually, let me go take a look at that. Anytime you're doing confined flying, this is going to be your biggest hurdle. And this is part of what makes it fun, is you have to use your judgment based on past experience of aircraft performance. What's it capable of doing? Now this is actually a little bit of a downwind landing, but the wind is variable. I kind of like this direction because, as I pointed out earlier, there is a fence line that's very low. So assuming that I can get airborne and relatively quickly start a right-hand turn, I can get out and over that fence. I'm kind of liking that view better than some of my other options. You know, don't rush this, because if you rush it and you crash, you're done flying for the day. Here's another good example. So now that I'm over here, I can't see. The sun is so bright in my eyes, that's not going to work at all. So kind of look at different options, and then you pick the option that you think is best, and try your best. So I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna take off this direction. Hopefully I don't take more than maybe half to 2/3 of the pool. Once I'm airborne, I'm gonna do a right turn briefly to get over that fence. Once I'm airborne, I can fly around just fine. So that's what we're gonna try to do. I already did the flight control check. Here we go. Now I will hold a little up elevator just like the real ones, and what that does is it gets the nose up, minimizes drag on your float. So this is just like the real ones. And full power aggressively. There we go. She is airborne. All right, now I got the turbulence I mentioned. I can feel it now that I'm airborne. There is a lot of turbulence up there. Now this particular airplane is awesome. I love it, but it will tip stall on you. So I do not want to be low and slow. Coming in low is a pass. How neat is that? Now I have to fly it aggressively because of all the trees and whatnot. So that's full power right there. So it's not terribly overpowered. You got to be really careful. You don't put yourself in a position that you can't get out of. Meaning that you can't perhaps outclimb an object ahead of you. You got to plan ahead. Now this aircraft will warn you. It's set up so that it'll give me a low voltage warning where the electric motors will do a cutoff. But that gives you limited time to land. Okay, I'm at full power and I don't have a whole lot of climb here. It's kind of an indication to me that maybe my battery's not doing great, even though it's fully charged. I'm gonna proactively try to do my landing planning here so that I don't have to dead stick in a bad position. It's always a good idea. Do not expect that you're gonna have power the whole time. It could cut off for any reason, unexpectedly. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a proactive landing. I'll do one pass here, kind of as a practice approach. It's kind of like a short final here. Now I don't know if you can tell, but it is bumpy, so this is going to be a challenge. And I might only get one shot at this. I'm gonna watch my airspeed, watch the trees, try to keep wings level so I don't tip stall it. How cool! How neat! So I really enjoyed that. I want to go again, but I think I'd be testing my luck. Just because you can see the wind's really starting to whip around, and this is a really light aircraft. You can really see how that can impact you. Especially since it's kind of variable. So I might be starting my approach, then go into a tailwind. All of a sudden I overshoot, and now I'm looking at this. So you gotta be really aware of what's behind you, your situational awareness, just like the full-size one. What's going on around you at all times. Always have an exit plan. So when I just came at myself, my plan mentally to go around was either breaking off this way out or that way out. I knew that this was not gonna be an option. So you kind of have to have those things in the back of your mind when you're looking around at your flying site. Which way is my out? It's that way. It's the farthest distance to the trees. It's that way, which is the best because the tree line's pretty far away. in this area here. Maybe since I'm here and the battery isn't dead, I'll just demonstrate. This does have the twin electric motors. It does not have rudder, so it has elevator, it has ailerons, and then to steer, most aircraft you would have your rudder set up on your left stick, and where the red is on the tail, that would pivot. This aircraft is awesome because it's a twin engine, really good design from the Horizon folks, or E-hobby, E-flite. You can actually pivot based on just using one motor at a time. So if I want to go to the right, you can see only one of them turns on. Now you might want to counteract that with some aileron, maybe some up elevator to kind of make it so it's not leaning so heavily. Right? You can see though, it's very maneuverable. Arguably more so than if you had a rudder. Now when you typically have a single motor on the nose, that wind flow is going directly over the rudder on where the red part is, and that would steer it. Because this one has the force of one motor outward on the wing, it's an asymmetric situation, it really swings this aircraft around nicely. I'm going to see if I can do a lap around this ball just to show you how tight it can turn. It's almost too tight, I don't want to hit it. One other thing I'll try to do is I'll taxi here with up elevator. I might just try to see if I can hop it, meaning just kind of get off the water briefly then land. All right, that was a close one. You gotta be careful doing that you don't overshoot and obviously run into concrete. Now one thing I'll tell you that's a secret that I learned because I did something dumb. I flew the battery pack flat one time, meaning that I was in the middle of a pond and when I gave full throttle, nothing happened. So you have a few options there. One of them is what you would call sailing the aircraft, just like in the real one, where eventually, just like trash or debris, the wind will go ahead and blow this to the corner. So what you'll see here is every aircraft will weather vane, and that's how you tell where is the wind coming from. And actually, more often than not, birds will do this. If you look at a lake and you see a bird, whatever direction the head is facing, that's where the wind's coming from. So right now it's coming in more or less from the south, southwest, like I said earlier. It's variable, but the wind is coming from this direction. The aircraft is facing directly into the wind at weather vanes. So having said that, you can see it's spinning, so the wind is rotating. Once you get a steady breeze, the aircraft will float to the edge of the lake downwind. So that's an option you can do. Wait for your aircraft to float to the corner of a lake. Now, if it's a still air morning, you might be there all day. You can always go either have a watercraft or swim out to your aircraft and be careful you don't pull it under. You might not have that luxury. What I learned on my aircraft, when you have the twin like this, the throttle cut will happen where your full throttle, your normal setting, will give you nothing. You'll still have the controls, but you won't have any power. However, because there is no rudder, that remains active. And so what I did is I waddled the aircraft like this back to shore, and that's how I got back. So keep that in mind, at least for the Otter, that even when you have low voltage, the rudder should still work, and you can kind of waddle your way back to shore and prevent yourself from getting wet. Guys, please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that it was entertaining, maybe gave you something new to consider. But please like and subscribe. Please drop a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.